The superintendent said to me, "I only keep you out of regard for your worthy father. But for that, you would have been sent flying long ago." I replied to him, "You flatter me too much, Your Excellency, in assuming that I am capable of flying." And then I heard him say, "Take that gentleman away. He gets upon my nerves." 2 days later, I was dismissed. And in this way, during the years, I have been regarded as grown up, lost 9 situations to the great mortification of I have served in various departments. But all these, when I came into my father, he was sitting buried in a low armchair with his eyes closed. His dry, emaciated face, with a shade of dark blue where it was shaved, expressed meekness and resignation. Without responding to my greeting or opening his eyes, he said, "If my dear wife and your mother were living, your life would have been a source of continual distress to her. I see the divine providence in her premature death. I beg you, unhappy boy," he continued, opening his eyes, "tell me, what am I to do with you? In the past, when I was younger, my friends and relations had known what to do with me. Some of them used to advise me to volunteer for the army, others to get a job in a pharmacy, and others in a telegraph department. Now that I'm over 25, that gray hairs are beginning to show on my temples, and that I have been already in the army, and in a pharmacy, and in the telegraph department, it would seem that all earthly possibilities have been exhausted, and people have given up advising me and merely sigh or shake their head. What do you think about yourself?" my father went on. "By the time they are your age, young men have a secure social position. Why, look at you. You are a proletarian, a beggar, a burden on your father." And as usual, he proceeded to declare that the young people of today were on the road to perdition through infidelity, materialism, and self-conceit, and that theatricals ought to be prohibited because they seduced young people from religion and their duties. "Tomorrow we shall go together, and you shall apologize to the superintendent," and promised him to work conscientiously. He said in conclusion, "You ought not to what you call a position in society is the privilege of capital and remain. One single day with no regular position in society. I beg you to listen to me," I said sullenly, expecting nothing good from this conversation. "Education. Those who have neither wealth nor education earn their daily bread by manual labor, and I see no grounds for my being an exception." "When you begin talking about manual labor, it is always stupid and vulgar," said my father with irritation. "Understand, you dense fellow. Understand. I don't pay. Now besides, coarse physical strength, you have the divine spirit, a spark of the holy fire, which distinguishes you in the most striking way from the ass or the old reptile, and brings you nearer to the deity. This fire is the fruit of the efforts of the best of mankind during thousands of years. Your great-grandfather Polaznev, the anybody general, fought at Your grandfather was a poet, an orator, and a marshal of nobility. Your uncle is a schoolmaster. And lastly, I, your father, am an architect. The Polaznevs have guarded the sacred fire for you to put it out. One must be just," I said. "Millions of people put up with manual labor, and let them put up with it. They don't know how to do anything else. Besides, I knew perfectly even the most abject fool or criminal is capable of manual labor. Such labor is the distinguishing mark of the slave and the barbarian, while the holy fire is vouchsafed only to a few. To continue this conversation was unprofitable. My father worshipped himself, and to continue the conversation was unprofitable and unpleasant. But I, the whole, nothing was convincing to him but what he said himself. Well, that the disdain with which he talked of physical toil was founded not so much on reverence for the sacred fire as on a secret dread that I should become a workman and should set the whole town talking about me. What was worse, all my contemporaries had long ago taken their degrees and were getting on well, and the son of the manager of the state bank was already a collegiate assessor, while I, his only son, was nothing. Still sat on and feebly retorted, hoping that I might at last be understood. Constantly questioned, of course, was clear and simple, and only concerned with the means of my earning my living. But the simplicity of it was not seen, and I was talked to in mawkishly rounded phrases of Borodino, of the sacred fire, of my uncle, a forgotten poet who had once written poor and artificial verses. I was rudely called an adulpit and a dense fellow, and how I longed to be understood. In spite of everything, I loved my father and my sister, and it had been my habit from childhood to consult them. Habit so deeply rooted that I doubt whether I could ever have got rid of it. Whether I were in the right or the wrong, I was in constant dread of wounding them, afraid that my father's thin neck would turn crimson, and that he would have a stroke,